everyone being here today. We would also like to take the time to thank Galvanize and the Arizona Tech Council for facilitating this great event and putting on this lunch and learn for cybersecurity, how to stay safe when it seems like everyone's out to get you. My name is Jennifer Villalobos, and I'm a solutions advisor with Nothing But Net. Nothing But Net is an award-winning managed service provider that was founded here in the Valley back in 2001 by two veterans in the industry, Bob Cox and Stephen Brown. They wanted to be able to provide solutions for the SMB market. So, because we're able to adapt and adjust to the changing market, Nothing But Net is celebrating 18 years in business as one of the leading managed service providers. So, super proud about that for Nothing But Net. All right, so at Nothing But Net, the really great thing about us is that we're able to customize our solutions for your guys' needs, which allows us to build ongoing and trusted relationships with our clients. And because we've been around for 18 years, we've been able to offer many services such as 24/7 help desk with a 1-hour ticket response time, cloud solution, backup as a service, and today's hot topic, cybersecurity solution. Also, with Nothing But Net, one of the great things is that we're resourceful. Because we've been around for 18 years, we've had the ability to build really great relationships with many of our partners that you will see here today, such as Cisco, Microsoft, ESET, and today, Ingram Micro. They're the world's largest distribution technology product and services distributor. And today we have Jacob White, our cybersecurity consultant, that will be coming up on stage and taking over. So, Jacob.
Hi everybody, as you can tell by my big annoying name tag, I'm Jacob White, technology consultant for security at Ingram Micro Distribution. I've been in the IT industry for about 10 years now. I started out my first 3 years as a help desk supervisor for the University of Buffalo CIT help desk. And from there, after I left that part of the industry, I went over to Ingram Micro, been in Ingram Micro for the past 7 years. And the past 3 of that have been in the security industry. Before I got into security, I spent a lot of time in a variety of different places, enterprise software, high performance and supercomputing. So I've seen a lot of different parts of the industry. I love cybersecurity. It's been something that's been kind of a personal interest of mine for a long time, and finally kind of started doing it full time for my job, and it's been something I've been into ever since. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about cybersecurity and cybersecurity policy and the big picture around that. But before we get into the nuts and bolts cybersecurity stuff, I want to talk to you a little bit about a personal story of mine and how that translates into cybersecurity on the big picture of Americans. So I want to talk a little bit about getting back into the outdoors. And where I was raised. So I grew up in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. If you've ever sat in the Adirondack chair, you can thank the fine, lazy people of the upstate New York region for that fine Adirondack chair. It's the birthplace of it. And it's a beautiful part of the country. There's 46 high peaks out there that you can climb. There's loads and loads of forestry. Very quaint, peaceful area that I eventually left to move to Buffalo, New York for college and lived there ever since, basically. And I spent a lot of time growing up in my formative years in the outdoors. Did a lot of hiking, a lot of camping, hunting, fishing, stuff like that. And I left a lot of that behind when I went to college and graduated to the outdoor workforce. And a couple of years ago, I was sitting down and thinking about, I really feel like there's this gap in my life where something's missing. And after a while, I realized, it's that being in the outdoors that's missing for me, right? It's just something I'd always done as a kid, and I really want to get back into it. So I started thinking about, well, how do I get back into this? Right? I got to start from square one at this point because it's been years and years and years, and I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. I've got some old hat knowledge, but I'm really starting from scratch. So I started out by setting some goals. Goals was number one. So first goal for me was to get in better shape. Right? I'm going to spend time outdoors. I'm going to spend time, getting out there, hiking trails, camping. Part of that is going to be, let's lose some weight, let's get in better shape. So before I started this journey, I was actually about 40 pounds heavier and lost a lot of that weight through training and spending time hiking and time in the great outdoors. I also wanted to get away from the routine. My day-to-day job is to get on an airplane, fly somewhere, do stuff like this. I get in an airplane, fly somewhere else, and then get in an airplane, fly somewhere else. So this week I am here. I am in Southern California, and then I got to fly to sunny and snowy Green Bay, Wisconsin. There's some way that you guys can make sure that I stay here. Somehow cancel my Green Bay trip. That would be cool. Because I'm tired of the cold. You know, we're at the point where I'm sick of it being below 30 degrees, and it's lovely. And finally, I wanted to reconnect with nature. Right, I wanted to fill that gap that I was missing in my day-to-day life, and really get back out there. So, long-tail goals, what do I want to do? Well, as I mentioned, there's 46 high peaks in the Adirondack region. I would like to climb all of them. And that's actually an accomplishment for the hiking community in upstate New York. They call them Adirondack 46ers. I said, I want to be a 46er. I want to climb all 46 of those heights. Especially easy for me because my dad still lives up there, so I've got a base of operations where I can go visit Dad and then be like, all right, see ya, I'm going to be gone for a couple days, begin smelling and hiking, and then I'll come back and shower up and home. And I also want to hike a national park. I would love to see Yosemite. I hear it's beautiful. I would like to camp out there for a couple days, but I would like to do so after getting some experience under the belt. So I started with this. Where did I go from there? Well, with the stuff group. I think that's something that a lot of people are familiar with, especially if you get started hiking again, you're going to start out with stuff. So your big three beginner items are normally a shelter of some sort, like a tent or a tarp, a sleeping bag, something to keep you warm while you sleep at night out in the wilderness, and a backpack, so you can carry all your stuff. So I picked those things up. I picked a couple other items, such as hiking shoes and boots. You got to have some specialty shoes for hiking out there in the wild. So I went and picked a pair of hiking boots. Got some hiking poles, which is something I wasn't super familiar with. There are these things down here, they made look a lot like ski poles for you guys, and they basically do the same thing. Designed to kind of keep you stable as you're going over rough terrain, and help you go a little quicker. Cook pot. I want a hot meal while I'm out in the woods, so I gotta get some stuff. I gotta get a cook pot. Water filtration, because you need to be able to refill on your water while you're out there for a couple of days, so you need something to keep your water clean. And then finally, a first aid kit, which is something that I completely forgot about at the last minute. And I went, oh yeah, if I break my ankle, I probably want something to stabilize that so I can get the hell out of the woods. So I ended up picking up a first aid kit kind of last minute. But once again, a lot of my focus was just kind of on the stuff. Right? I'm going to buy a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be the best hiker ever because I got all the things. And I spent a great deal of cash. So my first hike, Letchworth State Park in western New York. Letchworth is a beautiful piece of country out in western New York. It is known as the Grand Canyon of the East, which I'm sure that some of our locals here may scoff at if you're familiar with the Grand Canyon at all. But it really is. It's a roughly 1,400-foot canyon out in the middle. It's all limestone. It's absolutely beautiful, and there is a nice round-trip 16-mile, 20-mile trail out there that you can hike. So I grabbed a map from a ranger station, just kind of winged it, got parked, was all excited to go on my first big hike, and oh my god, not exactly the best experience starting out. So I ran out of gas about 4 or 5 miles in, and spent the rest of the hike being extremely exhausted. I got eaten alive by bugs, because it was a nice, wet spring day and the buggies were out. I had a bee fly into my shirt and sting me, which was also very unpleasant. I ran out of water about 3/4 of the way in, and had to spend about an hour filtering water. And I had blisters on my feet. So I felt pretty terrible, right? I bought all this stuff. I thought I was going to be expert hiker man from here on out, and instead I got my ass kicked. Exhausting is an understatement. So I went home, and I was like, people do this for fun? This feels terrible. I don't remember being this bad. So I decided I need to get some knowledge. I was clearly missing something here. Maybe this is how bad it is every time, and I don't know it, and people are going to talk to me about it. So I went to, I don't know if anybody in here uses Reddit, but I'm a big Redditor, and I went on Reddit and I went to Ultralight. Ultralight's a hiking community on Reddit that does long-distance hiking, lightweight hiking, stuff like that, and I decided I was going to ask the experts. As you can see here, they talk about really niche things, and because they're experts of things. A friend did for my, make sure to brush your teeth when you're chewing gum when you're typing on. So I went on there and I asked a bunch of questions. I said, guys, what am I doing wrong? This was terrible. I felt awful the entire hike. There's clearly I'm missing something. And they were able to help me out, help me learn from my mistakes. So first of all, I said, you know what, you're not eating enough. Fun fact, when you're hiking, you can burn between 600 to 800 calories per hour. per hour. And then overall, I said, one of the things that you miss is just planning. You're doing a poor job of planning your route. You're not bringing the right stuff with you. You're clearly not packing enough water or food. So spend more time planning and thinking about where you're going, what the obstacles you're going to face when you get out on that part of the trail are, and that you've got the right tools to deal with those problems. So I made some changes, and as you can see, there's a picture of me out there having some fun. So I picked up some new socks and shoes. I applied Prevothin into my gear per their recommendation. I started packing some more snacks and water, and I changed my hiking pool technique. So did 2 or 3 hikes after that, and from there I was able to start reliably doing about 16 miles per hike with some serious elevation changes, about plus minus 1,000 feet. So I went from having a miserable experience, running out of gas 4 or 5 miles in, to all of a sudden I'm out there killing it. I'm having a great time, I feel fantastic, starting to get more food and water in my body. I was really having a great time. And I was starting to do some serious mileage without feeling terrible the entire time. I was like, oh, so this is what it's like when you're doing things the right way. It was a complete 180 change of my experience. And then after some time, I started going out there, doing more trips, spending more time hanging out in camps, spending more time hiking and camping, and I started to learn some deeper understanding type stuff, things that were kind of outside the realm of things you can just read online. It was more about my experience and the things that I was learning from that experience. So I started hiking a lot differently. What stuff do I not need anymore? I started thinking about all the crap that I was carrying around my back and how it would wear on my shoulders over time. I was like, what stuff do I have back here that I can just lose? That I'm just carrying around with me the whole time, that I can just never bring with me in the first place? I'm going to make some better choices on how fast I'm hiking and how I approach steep faces. Right? If I'm about to climb the side of the hill or mountain, how can I think about how I approach this, and what's going to be the easiest route to get up there? Also, slow the hell down when you're approaching a really steep face. If you try to hike quickly up a really steep mountain or hill face, you're going to be exhausted, and then you're going to be like, well, I'm done, or I'm going to get an hour break to recover from that long. Instead, slow down. A much better experience. I had no really good medical knowledge on how to deal with cuts and bruises. I had to do some non-technical climbing up the rock face and split my knee open pretty good, and then I spent the rest of my trip bleeding because I didn't know how to deal with that. So I was like, hey, let's maybe get some basic first aid knowledge here so I know how to deal with stuff like this. And the interesting thing kind of struck me over miles, right? I think last summer I did probably about 150 or 200 miles of hiking last summer. And when you're out there for that long, you're doing those kind of distances, you start to think about some kind of higher level stuff that doesn't really, there's not, stuff you're not going to find in the manual or anything like that. You start thinking about things such as, where do I put my feet right now? Every step that I took. So I take this step, I got to make sure I not step on something hard that's going to hurt my foot. Or I take this step, I'm going to avoid this vine that I'm going to trip over. Instead of being about every step that I take, I got to think about what's the right placement on my foot to make sure that I'm not going to do something like break my ankle. Or make sure that I take the most comfortable possible step every time. So it was kind of this like, I felt like a big hit. I was like, where do I put my feet, man? Right? But it was something that over time just started to make sense to me. Hiking is basically walking, putting your feet in specific places, wearing fancy clothes. Right? It's really nothing more than that. But it was that sort of, it was a sort of revelation that I come to over the time of taking care of all the small stuff, so I was no longer sweating small stuff, and really focusing on the things that were important. Hiking my own path. So, you might be asking yourself right now, that's a fun story. What the hell does hiking have to do with cybersecurity? That's a great question. So let's start by talking about goals. Goals for cybersecurity are very important. Everybody wants to keep their environment safe. But very few people start by thinking about, what do I want to accomplish in cybersecurity? What do I want to get done? So start by thinking about that. Goals and policy is really going to involve your non-technical folks as much as your technical folks. So don't look at this in terms of, well, cybersecurity, that's IT people's problem. That's the nerdy guy's problem, right? Don't think of it that way. Cybersecurity is a holistic thing that's going to involve the entire team, including your C-level executives. This is actually an interesting experiential story.
I have some friends that work at a large food distributor chain, and they are the cybersecurity team over there. And they did a tabletop exercise to kind of go over what happened during the breach, and they brought in their C-level executive for the first time ever to a cybersecurity thing. And they sat down, and they said, okay, you've been hacked, what happened? Well, the IT guys take care of it. Okay, cool, you got a call from the Wall Street Journal asking about the breach because security researchers found some of your data online. What do you do? Like, oh, we don't have a PR policy for cybersecurity breaches. Okay, so I'm assuming your interaction with the Wall Street Journal goes poorly. What happens after that? Like, we have no idea. And suddenly they started thinking, wow, cybersecurity is not just what happens in the IT department. It's the bigger picture. It impacts everybody in the world. A lot can be done with policy. You don't have to go out there and buy the latest and greatest tools. You don't have to buy all this stuff to start out with. Start thinking about what can be done with the tools you already have in place. So for example, password strength and reset. How often do you guys reset passwords? What is your policy around password strength? Do you have one? If you do have one, is it strong enough? Start thinking about that stuff. Those are things that you really need to consider. Patching policy. You guys probably have tools, stuff like Microsoft SCCM to help you with patching your systems. How often do you do it? What things are most important for you to patch? What things are a hair fire, right? Can you prioritize when you need to be patching certain things? An account auditing. If somebody can set up, I was just talking about the first time that I did something cybersecurity related. I was in high school, and what it was gaining admin access to my school's domain controller, and then locking everybody out, which is bad. That was when I decided I don't want to go to jail and I want to be on the good side of cybersecurity. But looking through your accounts and being like, who has access to what? Maybe there's some folks who have access to everything who shouldn't. Are there people in the sales organization that have access to things like payroll and accounts payable and they just don't know about it? Right? You want to shut down stuff like that because that's bad. And are there accounts that are just floating around that nobody's using, that an attacker could use to look like they're living inside the organization you guys are? So overall, look at your environment through the lens of an attacker, right? A lot of times we get stuck in this trap of looking at our environment in terms of the defender. Well, I'm going to keep everything safe. I'm going to, my environment is my castle, and I'm going to put a moat around it. We're going to be safe. Nobody's going to get in. Think of it the other way around. I'm an attacker. I want to gain access to something, or I want to break in. How do I do that? What are the things that I can do using the tools that I know about my organization to screw with my organization? And then we take the other side of the coin. Well, if I'm going to do those bad things, what things can I do to protect against that bad stuff from happening? I think a lot of that can be accomplished through what I call the Fort Knox approach. So, who in here is good at Jeopardy? You can tell me what is inside Fort Knox. Wrong answer. What's in Fort Knox? Gold. Right, gold. Gold is inside Fort Knox. What you need to think about is what is your organization's goal? What is the most important thing you have in your organization? Is it your ability to manufacture something that you're building or producing or making? Is it information like PII, such as social security numbers, credit card numbers, stuff like that? Maybe it's your employees and the things that they're doing every day is your goal. Or, for a lot of organizations, it's money. Everybody has money in one form or another, and attackers want it. I want your money. So, your entire approach should be, here's what our goal is. Identify what the goal is. And then keep it safe by building a security environment around the goal. We're going to keep the goal safe, whatever it is. There's plenty of organizations I talk to, they have no idea what their goal is. They're like, yeah, we're just keeping our environment safe. Okay, well, if I'm an attacker and I break in, what do you have that I want? Oh, I have no idea. Know that. Know that first. Know what your important stuff is, because your entire strategy is going to be about keeping that stuff safe. This is the pyramid of pain. The pain is not for you. The pain in this case is for your attacker, the person who's trying to break into your environment. So when we're talking about the hands-on stuff that you're going to do to keep your organizations safe, we're going to look at this pyramid and use it as our guiding light for getting us down the path. So a lot of times we're going to start out with the stuff that's down here, the simple things. Trivial, easy, simple. So this is stuff like hash values. When we talk about hash values, we're talking about the specific identifier for a piece of malware, a virus or a remote access Trojan or something like that. The way that we deal with that is pretty trivial because what we do is we install signature-based antivirus applications, right? Okay, I want to deal with simple stuff, we're going to use a simple solution, like antivirus. IP addresses and domain names. We want to keep malicious IP addresses and domain names from connecting to our environment. How do we do that? Firewall, right? We'll install a firewall, we'll set up rules, we'll block the bad stuff from getting inside the walls. As we work our way up the pyramid, though, we're going to start dealing with some tougher stuff. We're going to start dealing with things such as network and host artifacts. Network and host artifacts is a fancy way of saying, how do I know that a computer is infected with malware without looking directly at malware, right? Much in the same way that is, if I have a fever and I'm coughing and sneezing, you guys are going to assume that I'm sick, right? I probably have a virus like the flu. We're going to look at a computer in the same way. How do we see what the coughing and sneezing is of the computer world to determine that there's a piece of malware? Maybe malware that we can't see with our signature-based antivirus, but we can see it with our eyes as humans. We want to know what are the tools and tactics of our attacker and deal with those things directly. And those are going to vary. This is why these are tough and challenging. Those are going to vary by the industry. Attackers that are going after financial organizations are going to use different techniques and tools than people who are going after, let's say, healthcare, for example. So understanding that stuff is difficult. It requires some level of expertise, but it will keep you extremely safe. And this is kind of where we get into a conversation around risk tolerance. You want to understand what is your risk tolerance. How much damage is it going to be if we get hacked, and how well can we tolerate that problem? So people who have low risk tolerance, and I know everybody's going to say they have low risk tolerance, but their IT spend and the effort they put into their cybersecurity is going to reflect that, right? So people with lower risk tolerance are going to spend more time and money on security spend. It's not just dollars, it's time, it's human resources. People with lower risk tolerance are going to have more people who are directly focused on cybersecurity on their staff. They're going to be regulated industries a lot of the time. Assuming we've got some folks in here who have to do with PCI and HIPAA. Maybe. Pretty soon, however, this is going to be everybody, right? Anybody here know about GDPR? Know some stuff about it? A couple hands? California just passed privacy regulations that are very similar to GDPR. So if you guys interact with California, and assuming a lot of you are going to, because we're really close geographically to California, you're going to fall under similar rules to GDPR. So learn about that, right? So people who are directly regulated generally going to have lower risk tolerance, and breaches generally will equal really, really bad stuff. It's like loss of life. If you're a hospital, somebody hacks in and takes control of power, or takes control of things that keep people alive, that's bad. And if they decide to mess with those systems, someone could die. If you're the Department of Defense, or the CIA, or something like that, somebody hacks into your systems and get a list of who your agents are in the field, people can die. That's bad. You're going to have a pretty low risk tolerance. Conversely, on the other side of the coin, works with higher risk tolerance, you're going to see kind of the opposite of that stuff, right? So they're going to have a lower spend on IT security, they're going to have a lot of generalists, so people who do multiple things, as opposed to just focus solely on security. A lot of times they're going to be in non-regulated industries, although, as I said, that group of people is getting smaller and smaller by the day. And a lot of times breaches just mean loss of reputation, right? We're going to see, well, you know, maybe we got a bad press release or whatever, but we'll get on that. It'll be fine. It's not a huge deal. One of the things to mention here, this is a very simplistic look at risk tolerance. I spent a 3-hour course last week with a specialist on this talking about nothing but risk tolerance. So it can get pretty granular, right? This is just giving an overview on this, but you can get super duper in the weeds on risk tolerance. You can even do this for the smaller parts of your organization, right? So you can say, we're going to have a risk tolerance conversation around our mobile devices, and that's it. We'll have a risk tolerance conversation around our domain controller and how we deal with that kind of management, right? So you get super granular on this, but just talk about this from a big picture perspective. Hey, let's take a look at it and figure out kind of where we fall in this tolerance scale. So let's talk about standard operating procedures as well. As you can see, I'm a rover like this was said. Everybody on their toes. So a lot of people will focus primarily on prevention. And this is where the industry spends a ton of its time, is on prevention. I'm going to buy bars for my windows, locks for my doors, and keep the bad guys out. What they don't think about are the other two sides of the coin. So incident response. What happens when something bad happens in our environment from a security standpoint? Somebody breaks into the building. Somebody breaks into our network infrastructure and steals stuff. What do we do? How do we contact our PR team and let them know what's going on, interact with the press? How do we deal with stuff like that? And then finally, it's our remediation plan. A lot of people will just wipe and reinstall and be like, we're done. But if you're in a regulated industry, you may have to submit some of that stuff for cyber insurance. Or you may have to call somebody at the federal government like, hey, we had a breach. You need to come in and tell us what we're allowed to do at this point. Or what fines we have to pay. So think about all three parts of this wheel. Prevention first, incident response, remediation. I've got a coworker who tends to refer to this as before the boom, during the boom, after the boom. He's a guy who used to be in the military and did like physical security, right? Keep the guy safe from guns. So that was always his thing, was I don't keep that guy safe before the boom. Incident response, what happens during the boom? If he's being attacked and somebody's trying to abduct him, how do we keep that guy safe? And then after the boom, what do we do to make sure that doesn't happen again? And then this all feeds into a cycle. So build a strategy, focus on practical stuff. You guys don't have to go out there and spend $1 zillion to be safe on the cybersecurity side. Focus on doing the practical work. Look at the NIST cybersecurity framework. This is something that is provided by the federal government, by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have a thing called CSS, Cybersecurity Framework V1.1. It walks you through how do you keep your organization safe from a big picture perspective, all the way down to granular controls that are for the hands-on security people. Network segmentation. If your network is big and flat and someone gets in, they can see everything. Work on chopping up your network. Because if I can get to one part of the container, it makes it hard for me to go across and make the other stuff. I tend to think of this in terms of segments in a submarine, right? In a submarine, you have pressure doors in between segments of the submarine. So that way, if there's a breach in one segment, you can close that section off so the sub doesn't sink, right? So water isn't going to hit the entire sub. You want to think of that in the same way you do with your networks. Identity and access management. I already kind of touched on this, but who in our organization has access to important stuff? Maybe shouldn't have that access? What accounts are floating around that maybe are dead accounts we can get rid of so that way they're not just floating around the network? Have SOPs for incident response and remediation, and do regular assessment and penetration testing. So, when we look at this, and I'll mention this more in a future slide, but we look at pen testing and assessments. I tend to call this the doorknob jiggler. When you guys leave your house at the end of the day, you lock the door, right? What's the very next thing that you do? Check it? Yeah? Gotta make sure the door's locked, right? I lock the door, and I wiggle the knob, and make sure I lock the door. Penetration testing and assessments is wiggling the door knob. I did a bunch of security stuff, now we're gonna make sure that it works. So, let's talk about stuff, right? In my hiking journey, the very first thing I did to be an expert hiker was I bought a bunch of stuff. And now I feel like I'm the best hiker ever. I'm gonna be on National Geographic tomorrow, guys. That's not how that works, right? It's the same deal with cybersecurity as well. You're gonna buy a bunch of security stuff that doesn't make you the NSA. Let's pick the right stuff. So, at some point you're gonna discover that you can only do so much from a policy perspective with the tools you already have. So you're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to buy something that does a specific thing for your environment to keep it safe. So security products themselves are going to be tools for you. Keep that in mind. Security products are not a solution. They are a tool. Somebody has to install them, somebody has to monitor and utilize them, and somebody has to deal with them from a money and administration perspective. So they're tools to help you get somewhere, to get to your end. Always start with the process of, we have a problem that we can't solve with the tools we have now. We need to purchase a security tool that helps us get there, and then we have to craft policy and have a management solution around that to eventually get to an actual solution, right? Assessment, once again, it's the keystone of the process. It's the doorknob. You've got to start with figuring out what's wrong. Hey, do we have tools to deal with this problem? We don't. Okay. Let's come up with a plan from both a policy and tool standpoint to deal with the problem. And then finally, let's implement that stuff. And then, don't stop here. Do not stop at implementation. Get back into the assessment. Okay, we installed the stuff. We did the policy changes. Let's make sure they work. There's no point in installing, I see this all the time. People buy new firewalls, right? Anybody buy a new firewall in the past year? Nobody wants to show their hands? Good, good, all right, you're all learning. Perfect. Yeah, tell me your vendors and your external IP addresses. If you bought a new firewall in the last year, there are plenty of folks who buy a new firewall, they install it, and they turn nothing on. And then they're like, we got breached. And this response comes in and looks at it and goes, yeah, you didn't turn anything on. And they're like, oh, we're supposed to do that? Yeah. All right, so let's talk about pick your tools. How do we pick the stuff? How do we get the right stuff? So let's talk about the difference between tools and vendors. A vendor is someone who makes the stuff. The tools are the actual products that those vendors make. So think of this in terms of, if I go to Lowe's and I buy something from Cobalt, Cobalt's the vendor. The stuff that they make, a crescent wrench, a screwdriver, is the tool itself. We have to look at the things we're buying from cybersecurity vendors to get it the exact same way. So, I get this question all the time. Jake, I don't want to do the hard stuff. I just want to buy some things and feel safe. What should I buy? Well, at the absolute bare minimum, your environment needs the following. A firewall. We look at the pyramid of pain, bottom of the pyramid, two of the big things there, blocking IP address and blocking DNS. We need a tool that will help us do that job. Firewall will meter our traffic. You need signature-based antivirus, something that is looking for the hash value, so something that's looking for the simple stuff. Most attacks are just using commodity off-the-shelf malware. If I want to hack into your computer tomorrow, something I can do is just go on the dark web and fish around and look for some tools, and then buy them in Bitcoin, so nobody knows it. For people who aren't afraid to go to jail. And then, I'm going to try to put that malware on your machine so I can gain control and more access. So using signature-based antivirus will do the bare minimum you can. This is, if I were to have a soapbox these days, this would be what I stand on, is email protection. Not enough folks are doing stuff about email. Email is the #1 way that people are getting inside environments these days. Proofpoint is one of the security vendors I work with, did a study last year. They published it in their State of Fish research summary. And they came back and said that 98% of breaches that occurred last year, the vector where somebody got in and established a beachhead was email. Email. 98% of breaches, email. I'll repeat that again. 98% of breaches,
Email.
there we go. Cool. You gotta say something 3 times before it embeds in your brain. So, email protection, I think, is the #1 missing piece. Start with something that's going to block email, right? Just standard like email gateway. But I think if you want to look in the long term, kind of the big haul here, look at user awareness training tools. A lot of times, the strongest and/or weakest link in your environment is your people. Because your people are the ones who are going to click on those emails, right? So how do I install antivirus in my employee's head? Don't drill a hole, try to stuff, procedure on there. Instead, train. And then assessment tools, professional services, right? You guys might not have people on staff who go in there and do a penetration test or run some sort of assessment to make sure that the installed security tools are working right. So hire someone or buy a product that helps you do it. So when you look at new tools, once again, this should fill gaps in your current security posture. Avoid what I call ambulance chases. You'll see this after every big breach. Equifax, some new version of ransomware comes out. Every security vendor will have something on the front page. Hey, we have a thing that protects against this. Buy it yesterday. Don't do that. Don't just see a new attack come out and then be like, oh God, we're not safe. We should spend a lot of money and then I'll feel better. Don't do that. Ambulance chasing is a big problem in the industry. Don't fall prey to it. Pick your vendors based on who's easy to do business with, who's easy to push my renewals and utilize. Look at the tools they sell. Find innovators. Gartner's great at this. They published the Magic Quadrant. Anybody familiar with the Magic Quadrant? Yep, a couple people? All right, that was a loud yes, I appreciate it. So look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Try to find people that are great to do business with, but are also innovating. All right, so last piece of the puzzle here. Ask for advice from experienced practitioners. Talk to people who know what they're doing. I would love to, we were just talking about this before we started, and Jennifer asked, how would you like to be referred to? Do you want to be called a cybersecurity expert? And I don't like that terminology. The reason I don't like that terminology is because it means that I know everything there is to know about cybersecurity. That's not the case. I don't know everything, right? And it's impossible to know everything because cybersecurity is an ever-changing, ever-evolving field. New stuff is happening all the time, and sometimes I'm the last person to find out about it. So it's important to build a community of people that you can lean on and rely on and ask questions to. So don't go it alone. Find allies, find peers, find friends. Security is a collaborative effort. If you're in this room, you might have a competitor from a business standpoint in the room with you. Talk to those people, because chances are they've dealt with cybersecurity issues that you're probably dealing with right now. And they might have come up with a solution that worked really great for them. And it can work really great for you too. When we look at who our competitors aren't the people in the room today. We are all allies. It's us versus the bad guys. It's us versus the people who wants to steal our stuff, our information, our gold. Lean on trusted advisors. Find people that give you useful information and help you out, and make friends. Collaborate with them, connect with them. And as I mentioned, make partnerships. Be a lifelong learner. Don't be afraid to not know the answer when it comes to cybersecurity, because guess what? You're not going to know the answer. There's plenty of stuff when people ask me questions, I'm like, I don't know, but I know a guy. I know somebody who probably knows the answer to this question, I'm going to call him. Security, like I said, it's constantly changing. It's impossible to be an expert in everything all the time. At one point, I was listening to like 6 hours of security podcasts every week, and that wasn't enough to stay on top of things, and so eventually I had to trim down and be like, okay, I'm going to be an expert on these couple of things, and then everything else I'm just going to be like, that's somebody else knows a lot about that stuff, right? So you're going to have to pick and choose what to be an expert on, but you can make friends with people who are experts on other stuff. Getting advice is really important. Building partnerships with people who are in the same boat as you is really important. And I think if you're going to do anything today, walk away with that. So, big overarching message and fun picture of the outdoors. If you walk out of here today, I want you to think about one thing, which is don't focus so much on the stuff. Think more about where you put your feet. That's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
So I'm going to kind of bring it back and talk a little bit about Nothing But Net, kind of who we are as a company and why you guys would want to partner with somebody like us. Nothing But Net was founded on the belief that using highly relational customer service and leading-edge solutions equates to client success. We were started on the dream of a managed services provider that is not only driven by a certain level of excellence, but by the needs of the people that we serve. So what makes us different? Nothing But Net, we go the extra mile. From maintaining formal auditing to being a fully SOC compliant managed services provider, Nothing But Net sets the bar for cybersecurity practices in small and medium businesses. We go bigger by employing on-staff technicians with a large range of skill sets to be able to address any needs for the clients that we have. And our network technicians are always available 24/7, 365. And we invest. We provide our technicians with the latest training, certifications, and tools to ensure that we have a proper team in place. And we view this as a commitment to our clients to make sure that we can implement forward-thinking solutions, and you always are getting access to the latest and greatest support. And finally, something that we take a lot of pride in is we're quicker. Our clients frequently speak to our swift 1-hour response time and our ability to be there when critical issues occur. And our ability to help our clients when they need us is why many continue to choose us year after year. So a little bit more about our company. Nothing But Net is currently 21 employees strong with resources in the Phoenix Iron Mountain Data Center, the Iron Mountain in Scottsdale, as well as New Jersey. So we do have a solid geographical footprint. Across those 21 employees, we have over 150 years of combined experience. And as I mentioned, we have a large range of skill sets to kind of address the needs for our clients, so such as Cisco, Meraki, HP, Microsoft, Veeam, and VMware certifications, along with some others. And we've been in business supporting our clients for the past 18 years, securing their networks and making sure that their businesses can run effectively and efficiently. And one thing that we really, really do take great pride in is our ability to focus on your support and your technology so you can focus on what you do best in your business and not have to worry about those other kind of things. And at the end here, we've got a little bit of some of the awards that we've actually been given over the past few years, such as the CRN MSP 500 and the MSP 501, which both rank managed services providers, the Inc. 5500, which rate fast-growing private companies, and we recently have also joined the Ingram Micro Trust X Alliance, which is basically a grouping of some of Ingram Micro's highest-end partners that come together and consult with each other, network, and bring together ideas that they can use to implement for their clients. To kind of wrap everything up, we're also going to be holding a data center tour next week. So on Tuesday, the 26th at 10 a.m. at the Iron Mountain Data Center in Phoenix, we're going to be having about an hour-long tour to go around and kind of see the infrastructure that we have there, the building that's there, and so you guys can see basically some of the practices that are put in place where we hold our clients' data, and you can also get a chance to meet the team. So if you guys are interested in that, there is a sign-up sheet on the back. So if you guys want to join us, like I said, it's going to be about an hour long. Go ahead and fill that out. That's basically all we have for our presentation today, though. Do you guys have any questions or any comments or